The program of St. Louis Blues, originally scheduled for this time, has been canceled. Representative Maureen Maverick of Texas, scheduled at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, will be heard instead at 8:45 p.m. this evening, speaking on the subject, Too Many Battleships and War. Tonight the world trembles, torn by conflicting forces. Throughout this day, event has crowded upon event in tumultuous Austria. Meanwhile, the outside world, gravely shaken by the Austrian crisis, moves cautiously through a maze of diplomatic perils. Since the German troops crossed the Austrian border on the historic invasion last Friday, news has flowed across the Atlantic in a steady stream. The German Chancellor now winds his way through the conquered nation in a parade of triumph to end in a tremendous spectacle in Vienna. As German troops swarm across frontiers in their first offensive since 1914, momentous decisions are being reached in the capitals outside Germany.
The following official communique has been issued from 10 Downing Street. On September the 1st, His Majesty's Ambassador in Berlin was instructed to inform the German government that unless they were prepared to give His Majesty's government in the United Kingdom satisfactory assurances that the German government had suspended all aggressive action against Poland and were prepared promptly to withdraw their forces from Polish territory, His Majesty's government in the United Kingdom would, without hesitation, fulfill their obligations to Poland.
The evacuation of British children is going on smoothly and efficiently. The Ministry of Health says that great progress has been made with the first part of the government's arrangements. The railways, the road transport organizations, the local authorities and teachers, the voluntary workers, and not least, the householders in the reception areas are all playing their parts splendidly.
We're on number 12 platform at Waterloo Station, one of the 10 big metropolitan stations that are engaged today on the evacuation of London's school children. We're on number 12 platform, the train's in, and the children are just arriving, coming along in their school groups with a banner in front saying what school they are. This lot's St. John's School Walworth, which is south of the river, and then they follow behind. The tiny tots in front, leading up to the bigger ones, the 12, 13-year-olds behind, and here comes a high school. More like 14, 15 and 16, they're being evacuated too.
Заместитель председателя Совнаркома Союза СССР и Народный комиссар иностранных дел Вячеслав Михайлович Молотов обратился по радио к гражданам и гражданкам Советского Союза.
Граждане и гражданки Советского Союза, советское правительство и его глава, товарищ Сталин, поручили мне сделать следующие заявления. Сегодня без предъявления каких-либо претензий к Союзу, без объявления войны, германские войска напали на нашу страну, атаковали наши границы во многих местах. и подвергли бомбежке со своих самолетов наши города Житомир, Киев, Севастополь, Каунас и некоторые другие. Причем убито и ранено более 200 человек.
Er is er niet om te band doen. Wij gaan u sluiten, luisteraars. Vaarwel tot betere tijden. Leven het vaderland, leven de koningin.
This is the BBC Home and Forces programme. This is Bruce Belfridge. Here's some excellent news which has come during the past hour in the form of a communique from GHQ Cairo. It says, the Axis forces in the Western Desert, after 12 days and nights of ceaseless attacks by our land and air forces, are now in full retreat. It's known that the enemy's losses in killed and wounded have been exceptionally high. Up to date, we've destroyed more than 260 German and Italian tanks and captured or destroyed at least 270 guns.
This is Robert St. John in the NBC newsroom in New York. Ladies and gentlemen, we may be approaching a fateful hour. All night long, bulletins have been pouring in from Berlin claiming that D-Day is here, claiming that the invasion of Western Europe has begun. Let me read you several of the latest bulletins. One says that a report, unconfirmed by Allied sources of course, says that heavy fighting is taking place between the Germans and invasion forces on the Normandy Peninsula, about 31 miles southwest of Le Havre. Another bulletin, also from Berlin radio and unconfirmed, says that British-American landing operations against the western coast of Europe from the sea and from the air are stretching over the entire area between Cherbourg and Le Havre.
доблестный флот, непобедимый, как наш народ. Ведь отойди до британских морей, Красная Армия всех сильней. Да будет красная непобедима на страже Родины родной, и все должны мы неудержимо
received this afternoon a message from the Japanese government in reply to the message forwarded to that government by the Secretary of State on August 11th. I deem this reply a full acceptance of the Potsdam Declaration, which specifies the unconditional surrender of Japan. In the reply, there is no qualification. Arrangements are now being made for the formal signing of the surrender terms at the earliest possible moment. General Douglas MacArthur has been appointed the Supreme Allied Commander to receive the Japanese surrender. Great Britain, Russia, and China will be represented by high-ranking officers. Meantime, the Allied armed forces have been ordered to suspend offensive action. The proclamation of VJ Day must await upon the formal signing of the surrender terms by Japan.